Hi, Sarah speaking here. So, welcome to Gridbusters. Today what we're going to be doing is installing this touch screen which controls the entire solar installation. Now, this comes with a mounting bracket which we can screw to the wall, and then this can actually be flush in the system. Now, my first thought when I received this was, or before I even received this, was what I would do was I would mount it here to the backer board because we've got a nice space here. However, the batteries down here mean that when I've got a load of batteries sitting here, I will have to bend right over to touch the screen, and it will be a little bit inconvenient. And then it occurred to me, why not mount? I mean, this cable is quite long. It's like a couple of meters long, over probably, well, let me see. It's as tall as me. So yeah, it's a long cable. Why not mount this in the rack? I think that would look really cool when you come in. And I've got this 19-inch rack blank panel here above this NAS here, this Astor NAS. And I think if we can cut a hole, we can mount that somewhere in the middle. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so I've got everything on the workbench here. Victron do provide a nice little paper template there, so that's where the holder goes for the screen. So what I'm going to be doing is drilling out the holes here, which bolt through and hold this backer in. And also we've got to cut out a hole here for the HDMI cable. So there are actually 4 holes there. So I want to make sure I get this roughly centered. So I've got 15.5 and 15.5. Actually, that's pretty much bang on. So I'm just going to secure it with a little bit of tape here. Let's just put that back on again. Where are we? 15.5. Okay. Looks good to me. So we've got 15.5 and 15.5. Yeah. Okay. Happy with that. So I've got here a center punch. So I'm just going to center punch these holes in the corner. Now, the annoying thing is, there is quite a large section here to drill out. I don't have drill bits that size. My jigsaw, which was like 1,000,000 years old, had finally given up the ghost about a month ago. I did order a new Makita one, however, it didn't arrive. So annoying here in France, ordering things. Sometimes it can take 3 or 4 weeks for something to arrive from Amazon. Because we live in such a rural location, we sometimes don't even have mobile phone signal here. So the delivery people try and phone up to make sure we're in. They can't get through, so they just send the item back to the manufacturer. And it's seriously frustrating. So that's what's happened. And I've got to phone them up next week and try and get them to re-deliver it. But anyway, we'll make do, and we'll just drill out the holes and then maybe use a file or something. So I've got everything set up on the drill press here. Really important when drilling metal to wear eye protection. Unfortunately, I found out the hard way about 30 years ago. I was drilling something with metal and I managed to get a splinter, a metal splinter in my eye, and boy oh boy was it painful. Had to go to the hospital. They put anesthetic drops in your eyes, and then you see them with the needle coming towards your eye and fishing the damn thing out your eye. You can actually see them doing it with a needle. Yeah, it was not fun, so I don't want to repeat that. So let's get started with this. Now, unfortunately, this is the largest metal drill bit I have, so I'll have to see what I can do. Eye protection. Forgot the eye protection. Right, let's get the eye protection on. Don't want to splinters on my eye. Okay, so pretty messy, but let's try and tidy it up. So I'm just going to cut this off with the snips. This is when I wish I had my jigsaw. So one thing I'm not very good at is metalworking. I don't really have the tools, I guess. Okay. So we have a hole. I guess we just need to file it down a bit. Okay, so actually, that's not too bad. You won't actually see this, but it is smooth. Okay, so will this fit? Let's have a look. Taking quite a bit out of this. Well, I think we might be there. So I'm just going to test fit this, and then if everything fits, I will put the protective gaffer tape. Actually, I don't think it needs protective gaffer tape thinking about it, because the cable doesn't actually go, will never touch this, it's just the metal, so I don't think we need that actually. So let's just put our bolts in. Dear me, that's tough. I'm not very good at metalworking. Especially when you don't have the tools. At least I've got a vise. You know, that is... I've got some tools, I guess. Yeah, without the vise, this would have been really hard to do. It's well worth getting things like a vise and some files. So these, so you can see these very old-looking files, metal files I have here. I actually picked these up in a what's called a brocante. So in France, they have these kind of like antique shops, or what we would call them in England, we would call them junk shops. They're in effect places that do house clearances, and you can go there and they have different stuff every time you go, and sometimes you can pick like a chest of drawers up, you know, for like 10 euros, or a bed up for, you know, 20 euros, just really, really cheap. And sometimes they have tools, and once I was in there and they had a whole load of tools, and they had these files on sale, which I think they were €1.30 each, so I just bought all of them. And it's about 2 or 3 years ago. I've never really used them until recently. So yeah, that's how I got those files. So let's have a look. Ta-da! Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So you may have noticed it is not straight. I'm not happy with that. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but that does not look straight to me. So I've got to fix that, or it's going to really, really bug me and it won't look professional. So I think I'm just going to make the holes a little bit larger, then I'll have some play, and then I can move it around a bit. But yeah, it does not look good. Don't know how that happened, even though I had the template. Yeah, oh, damn. Okay, time to fix it. So let's see, so it's a bit difficult because this is a rounded edge, but I'd say that's 2.4, and that looks like it's 2.3. So really tiny amount. So this side here, I think just needs to go up by 2 mil, which is a tiny amount. So I think if I just drill these holes out a little bit larger, I can always put washers on these holes here. And then I've got a little bit of play in exactly how the screen goes. And I can see if I drill out, if I make this side higher, I'm going to have the same problem here. So I need to, I need to file some more. Oh my God. Will the filing ever end? Wish I had the jigsaw now. Wow. Okay, let's get this done, and then I'm going to have lunch. Okay, so let's see if this will fit. So I've made these holes much bigger, and to be honest, I don't think I even need a washer, so I think we're good to go. Let me just go and grab the screen. Okay, so let's try and get the screen in again. So as I've been going, I've been trying to vacuum up as much of the metal filings as possible. You know, electronics and metal filings don't go very well together, so trying to keep things relatively clean. Kind of a good idea, I think. Okay, so I can actually see everything, all the holes much better now actually, so which is hardly a surprise. But I think I've now got a little bit of play in each one of those screw holes. So if it's not 100% level, I've got a bit of wiggle room there. So I'm thinking that will do it. So let me just get these wing nuts in, and then we can see how everything's gonna look. Wow, I thought this would be like a really simple, like, I don't know, 15-20 minute job. It's taken me a long time. Over an hour. Okay. It's always the way, isn't it? Things that you think are going to be really simple jobs end up taking forever. So, here we go. And now if I want to, yeah, you see I've got a little bit of play there. And already that's already looking better actually. So, I've got about, I would say about 2 to 3 mil of wiggle room in there. So once it's in the rack, if I'm not happy, I can just back these wing nuts off. Yeah, so I'm happy with that, the way that looks. Yeah, let's go and get it in the rack. Right, so let's see how that looks in the rack. Let's get the cable in, and it's gonna go there. I'm happy with that. I'll do 3. Okay, time for, oh yes, this is my favorite part. Oh, that's so satisfying. Okay, so there we go. Mounted in the rack. It's funny, it doesn't look like it's centered, but it is actually centered. I've just given it a second measure. Right, so the next job is to fish this HDMI cable and this USB connection here through the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish it through there, through here, and then I'm going to have to cut a hole in the plasterboard, in the drywall behind here. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the computer here, the servo, just because I don't want to get any drywall dust in here. So I'm gonna unscrew this, take this out, cut a little hole here, remove this access panel, and then we can fish everything through. So I'm so pleased I put these access panels in. It makes life so much easier when you've got to do some wiring or something. If you're doing a job like this, if you're building a room like this, put access panels in. Even if you didn't, I think just building a false wall like this and having a space behind for cables and things just makes life so much easier. So what I'm going to do quickly is just make sure that there is no mains cable behind where I want to cut through, because I don't want to cut any cables. So I'm just having a feel around the back. Yep, that's fine. So we're good to go. There we go. So first thing I'm going to do is get that through. Get this through the plates here. And then fish this through. Hoping this cable is going to be long enough. There we go. Okay, so now I have to fish this cable through this rather small hole here. There we go. That's not too bad. There we go. Now we can plug in the HDMI cable and the power cable. I believe the power cable is the first USB connection. There's a little line there. So there we go. That looks very neat. I'm pleased with that. That way we don't have lots of dangling cables going everywhere. Everything is kept nice and neat. Now the final thing we need to do is get the power cable connected for the Sobo GX. So we can actually just hook this up to our battery. This connector here plugs into just into there. Kind of hard to show you, but that's where it plugs in. And they give you a cable with just two connectors on the end, along with an inline fuse on the positive. So this can be connected to any DC power source. I think it's believed between 9 volts and 55 volts, or 56 volts, or 60 volts, I think it is. 9 and 60 volts. Now, when I have everything wired up, what I'm going to do, I think, is connect it like that. So I'll literally just directly connect it to the bus bar, and then the cable will run behind and then come out of this hole here directly into that connection. But what I want to do right now, just to test the system, let's get something on the screen. Let's just temporarily connect it up to our battery. I'm going to be connecting this up hopefully within the next week when I get the connectors and the cable through in the mail. But right now, we can just connect up this cable directly to our battery and get the system working and just see the touchscreen switched on. So now we need to connect this directly to the battery. So I can remove these battery covers here, these terminal covers. And what we need to do, the red is positive, the black is negative. And what we need to do is connect these to each side of the battery. Now, whenever connecting up to a battery, never assume that the black is negative and the red is positive. Obviously, I have put this battery together, so I know it is. But if it's a power source you don't know, you really do need to check it in advance with a meter, because if you get it the wrong way round, you can actually destroy equipment. I've done that in the past before, years ago, got the polarity wrong and blown up like a camcorder or something like that. So done that many a time actually. So whenever I connect something to an unknown power supply, I will always check it with a meter to make sure I get the polarity correct, plus to plus, minus to minus. I know this is okay, but let me just show you how you actually do that. So what you need is, you need a meter. So let's actually just go over to the bench and I'll show you how this works. Okay, so this is the meter which I'm using. It's well worth getting a decent meter. This is the one I recommend because you can also measure amps. So I'm just going to turn this on to voltage. The annoying thing about this meter is it defaults to AC. But you can just push a button here and it goes to DC. So now we're in DC, we can measure the voltage, and the red is plus and the black is minus. It doesn't actually say plus and minus on, it just says V and COM, so you may get a little bit confused. If you're ever in doubt, get something you know has a plus. See, this is a Duracell battery, it says plus there and minus there. So what we can do is we can measure the voltage of this battery, and we know that's plus and that's minus. And if we connect it up, it says 1.6 volts. Let me see if I can get the camera to show you that. Okay, so let's hook the red one up to the red cable up to the plus on the Duracell battery, and the black cable to the minus on the Duracell battery. And there we go, it says if I can hold the cable steady, let's just do that again. There we go. It says 1.6 volts. Now, if I switch the cables around and put the black on, let me just show you. So I'll put the black on the plus, on the positive, and the red on the negative. Let's see what happens. So if I'm doing it in reverse polarity, so let me just do that. You can see there it says I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but it says under the DC there's a little minus sign, so it's saying minus 1.6 volts. And then if I do it the correct polarity, so I'm putting the red on the plus and the black on the minus. Whoops, let me just, there we go. You can see it just says 1.6 volts, there's no minus. So if it just says 1.6 volts, if it just says DC and no minus sign, we know we've got the polarity right. So now we can test our big battery here to make sure our polarity is correct, to make sure that the orange connector is plus and the black connector is minus. This is something I always do if I was connecting up to an unknown DC power source. So first of all, I'm going to turn the battery on so we can get some voltage coming through. I'm going to switch on my voltmeter, switch it to DC, and I'm going to put the black one on the black and the red one on the orange. And sure enough, it says 55.6 volts DC, no minus sign. So we know that that is minus and that is plus. Never take this for granted, or always check it with a meter. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So let's get our temporary power connection hooked up. So where are we? That's our plus, and that is our, sorry, that's our plus and that's our minus. So I'm just going to, this is only temporary connection. Okay. I'm just going to turn the battery off whilst we're hooking things up. There we go. Let's get the covers back on. Oh, these things never stay on. There we go. I think that's saying it to death. Right. So I'm going to get this now hooked up to the Servo GX. Okay. So it's going to turn the battery on. Okay, the battery's on now. And we have a flashing light on the Servo GX. And it is a computer, so it probably will take a little while to boot up. So I'm just going to fast forward. Yay, we've actually got some graphics on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. This has been a really long video. By the way, I love your comments. So if you've got any suggestions, anything I've done stupid, anything I've done wrong, anything you actually want to know, comment below the video. Let me know. The more interaction I get on these videos, the more YouTube seems to like these videos. And remember to like if you like the video. So guys, I'll see you next time. Have a great day. And like always, remember, keep your energy clean. And I'll see you next time. Bye.